fifth grade, we're going to be talking about your clay project, making a mug. And so when we talk about making a mug, there are certain pieces that we need to have to make a slab mug. First of all, we need to have the bottom. Okay, that's going to be a circle. And then we are also going to have a rectangle that's going to go all the way around. So we need to have it so that it will actually be the circumference of this piece. Then of course we also need a handle. Okay, so these are the three pieces that we're going to have. This is going to be the bottom, this is going to be our side, and this is going to be the handle. So when we plan our clay pieces, we need to make sure that we have those three pieces that is being created. So when you get your slab, you're going to roll some texture into it. This one already has texture in it, as you can see. And first, we are going to be making the bottom. Now, I like to kind of put my bottom like on the edge of my slab. I don't want to ruin the whole body of my slab because I'm going to use that for the sides. So a lot of times I'll find a spot that's a little smaller, and then I will create a spot for my slab to be cut. And I just use my butter dish here, and I just kind of cookie cutter it and kind of twist that so that it becomes marked in there really good. And if you push really hard, you should be able to go through it. If you can't push through it, what you can do is you can very carefully cut out. And I always go for the inside and not the outside of this design. So that way I don't have any weird shapes that I want to do. And you want to make sure that's really careful and straight, just like that. And then you just kind of pop that out. Make sure you go all the way through. All your extra clay will get brushed off. And you are actually going to have the smooth side on the inside. We don't want to have the decorative side on the inside because that's where bacteria will grow, and we don't want to have that happen. So when we are using a mug, we want to make sure that our decoration is always on the outside and not on the interior. So this is going to be my bottom. That means I still have all of this clay right here to use. And I want to make sure that I use a straight line. So I have a clay ruler here, and I am going to use my clay ruler. Make sure it's a clay ruler and not a drawing ruler. And you are going to cut a straight edge off of that. So you're going to find a straight edge that is going to work. And you're looking for it to be about 9 inches. This piece of clay right here is about 3.5 inches wide. So if I do my math and I'm trying to find the circumference, it's diameter times pi is to find the circumference. So the diameter is 3.5 and pi is 3.14. And if I just kind of estimate, you know, if I make sure that it's above whatever that calculation is, so 3.5 times 3 would be 10.5. So I need to make sure that it's 11 inches long because it's greater than 10.5. So I had to use a little bit of math, and that is absolutely fine to use math. And that's a great reason to use math. So I'm also going to keep these pieces off to the side so I don't accidentally, because I might use them, I might need them in my project. So I'm going to make sure I have that. And then I'm going to turn this just so. All right, so here's my slab, and I'm going to make a straight line right here. And the way I do a straight line is this. I take my ruler and match it up with my cut I just created. If I go like this, then I know it's not going to be a straight line off of that. And I want it to be a straight line that is a great corner for that section. So I'm going to just cut it right straight like that. And then I'm going to set that off to the side. And then, of course, I am also going to do the other side. So right here, I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's matched up. And slide it up and go from there. And I'm trying to make the biggest slab I can make So just so I know that it's going to be able to go all the way around my bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully put it on end. Notice I didn't cut the upper yet. The reason why is because I like to dry fit things. I like to be able to kind of place things in there and see if that will work. So if I just put it on the bottom edge like this, all right, where I am wrapping it so it goes around, this won't match. It won't work. If I put it on top, it might fit a little bit better. It looks like it'll fit a little bit better. So I had to do some problem solving. That's the reason why I dry fit everything. Dry fitting means I'm not slipping and scoring it yet, and I'm just kind of getting it to go together. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm looking at this and seeing how it works. There's a couple different joints that you can use. You could use something called a butt joint, which is where you are butting things up together so they go just like this. That's a butt joint. Or you could do an overlapping joint. If you do an overlapping joint, it gives you a really good adhesion, okay? Gives you a great space, but you do have some design flaws issues here where you have that little groove on the inside and you have a little groove on the outside. Some people like that, some people don't. I like that little opportunity, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit, okay? So this is going to be my outside. This is going to be my inside. And I don't want this corner that's on the inside. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to cut a little bit of an angle off of that. So it's nice and smooth and it's going to be kind of hidden. So I'm just going to kind of cut it off at an angle. It takes a little bit of a practice, but you can do that. And then if you look on the inside, then you have a spot that will actually work fairly well. Now, on this side, I can do some really fun designs with this. And I definitely need to straighten up my lip because my lip is not straight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. I'm going to cut my lip and get rid of that extra clay. And again, I'm going to match it over here at the edge. You probably can't see it. Let me squish it over a little bit. Or let me squish it over that way a little bit. So over here, I'm going to have my ruler meet up with that edge. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit and meet up with that edge. Make sure it's at 0 so it's a nice straight edge. And I want it to match. It's kind of hard to show you because of the way that my computer is working, but and I'm just going to cut this top off. Making sure I go all the way through, and if I'm not sure the first time, I can do it again. And of course I save that piece right there, and then we should be good. So now I have that cut. This I can do like a little fun design. Maybe maybe I want to do some points or do some kind of wavy line because this is the edge that's going to be exposed. And you know, you can always have some fun and make it look really cool. You don't have to keep it just straight on that design. So you can just cut a little bit out. I'm just going to do like that. And then I am ready to start slipping and scoring. So I am putting it on top. So that definitely means that I need to put my slip using my toothbrush. Remember, you have to have that toothbrush working. So you're just going to put your slip right around the top of this, like so. I also know that the bottom, which is right here, is going to be there. So I need to slip and score that too. Because remember, if we don't slip and score, this is our glue, the clay will not stick. I also will be slipping and scoring here. So it's going to attach here, and it's going to attach over here. So I have to think about where is it going to attach. So I'm going to scrub here, because that is going to be slipped and scored together. And this part is going to attach to this side. So then we have to slip and score there. So now I'm going to slip and score it together. We're going to match it all up. Get it where it needs to be. And sometimes we have to kind of wiggle it just a little bit. So we're going to get it all lined up. Tap it, tap it, tap it. And then go from there. So now we're going to kind of just press everything in there, making sure everything's really well adhered. Notice my hands on the inside supporting that joint, because if I don't, then it's not going to work very well. And I'm looking at my seams and making sure that everything is really smooth. So I'll take my finger and just kind of rub that seam so we have a nice, smooth, beautiful seam. And that way we can put our name on the bottom, or our initials. We kind of hide it in our design. And I'm going to go all the way around, just kind of rubbing that, making sure that's worked into that surface, because if I don't, it's going to come apart, and then I'm going to have a big old hole or a leak where I don't want it. So I'm just going to go like this all the way around. I'm looking good. On the inside, okay, you can kind of see that seam, and I want to get it smoothed out some more. So I'm going to use a tool that's going to go in there. And I usually get my tool a little bit wet to make it a little bit easier to work with. So I'm just going to kind of rub that seam down in there and move it back and forth and kind of make sure it's all smooth. Sometimes I have to flip it over. Sometimes I have to lay it down on the table so I can get to it. So I'm just going to kind of work my seam so it's all hidden. And I'm going to kind of just start moving it down into the design. So just kind of go like this, and then just work it over. And then just make sure you get everything smooth. Once you get that done, then you're ready for the handle. Now the handle, you can take these scraps that we have left over, and what you're looking for is something that fits in your palm of your hand when you open it. So like if you look at that space right there, you want, when you hold it in your hand, it should fit comfortably. Like this is a little wide for my hand, so I feel like I need to kind of cut it so that it's about to my knuckle right there. So it's going to go right there. I'm going to just kind of slice it, make a really thin strip of clay like that. And sometimes I like to, make my ends a little fancy, like maybe do a point like that, or do a little curve over. Your call on how you want it to look. Just kind of cut it where you need it. Doesn't have to be flat or square, because that will change. And then what you're going to do is you're going to form it into like half a heart. So that's your handle. You're going to put it into, so it's like half a heart, and it's going to attach here, and it's going to attach here. So when you are attaching your handle to your project, you're actually going to be slipping and scoring there and slipping and scoring there, and it's going to attach to your project like that. So it looks like half a heart. But some things you need to be aware of. One, a lot of people don't like to drink off of a overlapping joint, so a lot of times that's where I attach. Or because mine, it has a really decorative piece, I like to kind of pick opposite of that. So here's my joint right there, so I'm going to actually go opposite of that and attach here. So I'm going to attach there, and pushing really, really firmly. I'm going to take my hand and make sure that everything's really well attached, and then push down. Make sure that when you are pushing down that you are using the inside hand. Put your hand on the inside and push down so that it supports that. And then I like to kind of round everything out with my fingers, so that way it doesn't cut or get too sharp. So I just kind of take my fingers and I just rub, and then rub the edges so that they're not sharp. When I grab it, when I'm done with it, don't grab your handle until after it's been fired, okay? So when you're done, you want to make sure that you wait until it's been fired. Once you get that done, we're going to store it upside down. And then you are going to be putting your initials on the bottom. You could use a needle tool, or you could use a pencil. I like to use a needle tool because you can write really fine on there. You just kind of carve them in there. And a lot of times I like to put the year, so that way people know what year I made it a lot of times. But you're going to put your name on that, and then you're going to let that dry the rest of the way, and then we will sponge it to soften it up a little bit. And there's your mug. So you can kind of see how the results are. Thanks for watching.